Okay, so my thoughts on talking to young children, I'm going to break it down into four different categories: authenticity, respect, relationship, and what I call keeping your eye on the prize. So, first, authenticity. I believe infants and young children have the strongest BS meters out of anyone in the human species. Their brains and bodies are designed for social learning. So when we're not being totally authentic with them, they know it and they honestly deserve better. How else are they supposed to learn to be real, to be honest, to be truthful, and be the complex people that they are? So if we're blabbering on all day, here's your breakfast. This one's made from apples and sweet potatoes and kale. Remember, those are fruits and vegetables, so healthy. Can you say vegetable? If we're doing that because we feel like we have to, our kids are going to sense that we are being fake with them and have some agenda that goes beyond getting them fed and spending time together. And it's going to create this really weird vibe between you, and it's going to create this detrimental level of distrust. It's not what we want. So, if you come from a big, loud, boisterous family where everyone just yells over each other all of the time, and that's you, go for it. If you're an introvert who practices mindfulness and feels most at peace when you have long stretches of silence, go for it. Magda Gerber used to say, "What we teach is ourselves." So if you bring your full self to the relationship with your child and you're being authentic, there's nothing better because you are teaching them to be themselves. So speak with them authentically at a pace and level that feels real. Okay, number two, respect. So there's this crazy concept that can get some people all hot and bothered, which is that infants, from the day they are born, are whole people and deserve to be treated as such. Radical, right? But honestly, when we think about it, do we actually act like we believe that? So do this little thought experiment with me. Imagine you have, let's say, an elderly family member who has suffered from physical setbacks due to some sort of illness or maybe a stroke, and they need caregiving assistance. If you were to help them get dressed, how would you speak to them? Just really imagine that for a second. Maybe close your eyes. What's your tone of voice? How much are you saying? My guess is that you're really focused on treating them with respect and speaking to them as though they are part of the process, that they are doing this with you. And you're probably narrating some, like, okay, it's time to put your shirt on next, but you're not going to test them on the color of their shirt or scold them for not being as helpful as they were yesterday, or go off on some tangent about the pattern on their shirt just so you can teach them some vocabulary. You're just gonna talk with them like a regular person. And I think children deserve the same thing, the same level of respect. So think about factoring that in when it comes to deciding how much to talk with children and what it feels like. Okay, 3, relationship. I've kind of hinted at this already, but I just want to really explicitly say that while it's wonderful to have goals for our child's development and intentionally create experiences for them to learn and grow, there's nothing more important than preserving and strengthening their relationship with you. So in addition to being authentic and speaking to them respectfully, we want to read their cues and respond accordingly. If they're in a super chatty mood, let's say, asking you why about everything that you see on your neighborhood walk together, indulge. Get in that excitement with them and capitalize on the learning opportunity. Teach them new words, you can narrate your thinking. But if they create this invitation, it's a loving thing to follow it. Then let's say maybe that later that day, they're totally exhausted from their big morning and they just lay down on the carpet in the living room and stare out the window. This is not the time to go over and explain the difference between a cumulonimbus and a stratus cloud. You can just leave them be. Leave them in that silence. And better yet, when you do need to interrupt them, because let's say it's mealtime, just go across the room, sit down on the floor, and maybe stare out the window with them for 30 seconds. You can sort of glance over, wait for eye contact, and then simply say, Lunch is on the table. I'll be over there. And then, so relationship, authenticity, respect, and keeping your eye on the prize. Why do people advocate to talking to your baby all the time? Here we want to work backwards and do something that the rationalist community refers to as goal factoring. Step back, ask yourself, why am I actually doing this? What are my goals? And are my actions the best answer for achieving those goals? So with narration and talking and language development is the focus, right? And remember that includes things like expanding vocabulary, eye contact, attuned listening, articulation of ideas, rhythm and balance in conversation, proper enunciation. So when we can see those skills as both receptive and expressive and built on human connection, we know that being authentic, respectful, and in relationship is more important than talking at your child all day long without reading their cues and interests, without respecting their need to be uninterrupted and having some alone time. Because we want to give them plentiful opportunities to initiate and lead conversation. So talking just doesn't fit our goals. All of human learning happens at its best when we're in relationship and it's in context. And I think the answer is really simple. Find balance, do what feels right. Don't overdo it with narration, but you can use moments like diaper changes, for instance, to play with words, connect with your little one, just slow down, be in the moment, be in tune, and the answers will come. Okay, thanks for listening.